Welcome back, my friends, and Happy New Year. Hopefully you had a great 2022 with lots of wanderings, explorings in the natural world, and hopefully 2022 will be filled with even more excitement and more adventures and more great times with nature. Now, I often wonder, why do we celebrate the new year on January 1st? I mean, I always think of a lot of events in the calendar as being related to nature, like the equinox. But anyhow, I did a little research, try to find out why is New Year's in the dead of winter, January 1st. Where'd that come from? Nothing really happened in nature, so it's not connected to nature. I mean, it is close to the winter solstice, but it really has nothing to do with that. And anyhow, in my research, I found out that instead of doing it like in spring, which is where I would have put the new year, because spring is a time for renewal, a time for rebirth. All the plants are starting to begin to grow. Life is beginning to start all over after it's been dormant all winter long. So why not spring? Well, it goes back a long time ago. Matter of fact, it was the Romans. So the Roman god Janus, he was the god of new beginnings, gateways, ends, transitions, and time. And so January, which came from the name Janus, that's when they decided, okay, this is renewal, this is beginning. So this is the new year in the middle of winter. So that's where it came from. Anyhow, I hope you have a lot of New Year's resolutions ready to get back out into nature more, or if you are a big nature lover and you're always wandering through nature, exploring nature, hiking a lot, maybe you have some resolutions to do even more. And you're probably wondering, well, Paul, what are your resolutions? I don't make them. Yeah, I used to make resolutions, and I found when I was younger and making resolutions every year, I made them too difficult, and so I never stuck with any of them. And that's why I eventually started to decide I'm going to make them a little bit easier. That way I can stick with them. And so I tried that. Didn't work. Nope. Still didn't do the resolutions. They never stuck, even though they were easy resolutions. So I finally made a resolution. This is many years back, probably like 20 plus years ago. I made a resolution that I finally stuck to. And that resolution was, I'm never going to make another New Year's resolution. But what I do is I make goals instead. So every year I think, well, this is what I want to accomplish for the year. And if you want to even make it easier on yourself, this is what I want to accomplish this week. This is what I want to accomplish for the month. And write it down somewhere. Don't just say, I'm going to get out in nature more this year, and then just leave it at that. You have nothing to really look at that keeps you to your word. So it's so much easier. Write it down somewhere you're going to see it every once in a while. Maybe put on your nightstand. These are my goals for the month. Maybe have a file on your computer. These are my goals for the week. I'm going to get out and explore nature twice this week. I'm going to go hiking at such and such a place this month. I'm going to go and learn more about nature. This week, I'm going to listen to a nature podcast, hopefully this one. This month, I'm going to listen to a bunch of different nature podcasts. I'm going to learn as much as I can about birds this month. So these are goals, not really resolutions. I've found with goals, you can actually accomplish them much easier. And especially if you have written down somewhere, at the end of the month, you look back at them and say, okay, did I do all these? Check them off. Celebrate when you have those accomplishments. That's a biggie. But check them off as you do them. And if you missed one, not a big deal. Guess where that goes? Next month. Yeah, that's next month's goal. So just keep these goals going every month and try to make nature part of your goals. Or if you do the resolution thing, that's fine. Try to make nature more of it. And the reason I'm pushing this is there's so many people these days that don't get outdoors. We have actually separated ourselves from the natural world over the years, especially with modern technology, especially with being so busy all the time. Americans have actually separated themselves tremendously from nature. Matter of fact, the natureofamericans.org, they have actually said that only about a quarter of adults are outdoor oriented in their hobbies and interests. That just amazed me. It's like, you don't have an outdoor hobby? Three-quarters of Americans don't have a hobby or an interest that takes them outdoors? That just blew my mind when I saw that statistic. But they did the studies, and this is what they came up with. They also found that more than 60% of adults spend 5 hours or less in nature each week. 5 hours a week? You got to be kidding me. People can't get out 5 hours or more? So yeah, about 60% of adults spend 5 hours or less in nature each week. And what about kids? Well, the Child Mind Institute did some research. They did some studies, and they found that the average American child spends 4 to 7 minutes a day playing outdoors. Yet they spend about 7 hours in front of the screen. Whether it's computer screen, television screen, electronics have taken over nature. So these children, and this is average, okay? The average American child spends 4 to 7 minutes a day playing outdoors and 7 hours in front of a screen. What's that 4 to 7 minutes? You go outside, run around for a little while, and come back in and sit in front of the television. That is sad. You know, it's been going like this for a while, though. As soon as we got computers into our lives, cell phones, it makes it so much easier for our youth to just sit in front of a screen, to not really get out and explore nature. Richard Louv, he's the author of Last Child in the Woods. If you haven't read the book, read it. It's very interesting. It's well written. He actually coined the phrase nature deficit disorder. And it's all about how children have disconnected from nature. So here's all these studies going on showing how not only children, but adults have disconnected themselves from the natural world. What's the big deal? Well, there's a lot of studies, I'll get into those in a minute, about why nature is important, why you should get out and explore nature, why you should have nature in your life. I mean, it is very important. So we'll get into that in a minute, but my question is why? Why aren't people spending time in nature? Now, the first one I already mentioned, electronics. So much easier to just sit back, relax, and stare at a TV screen. I mean, there's so many movies coming out all the time. I'll admit it, I'm a TV junkie in the winter. Yeah, I do a lot of binge watching, catching up on series, catching up on movies that I haven't seen. And I'm always tell people during the summer, don't tell me about that. Don't tell me what happened. Okay, I'm waiting for the winter. Winter months, I do get outdoors, but when you have snowstorms, when you have sub-zero temperatures, I like to be inside in the evening especially. During the summer, my TV is never on. But during the winter time, yes, I do get in front of the screen. It's so much easier for people to do this. And there's so much entertainment out there on the screen. Why not? And then we have our computers. You just log on to the computer, you stare at the screen, you get your work done, and after you get the work done, well, then you start playing on it. That's just the way it is. And how about these cell phones? They call them smartphones. I always call them dumb phones, but the smartphone, when you're on your smartphone, how many of you have gotten sucked in to the social media platforms? Okay, I've done it myself. It happens. On Instagram, I'm going to put a post on for the Nature Wanderer. I'm going to make a reel. As soon as I hit that Instagram button, something sucks me in. Yeah, I start panning up and down, seeing what's on there, seeing what the friends have done, seeing what some total stranger posted as a video. It just sucked me in. Has it happened to you? It's easy to do. I get it. I understand. It can't be helped sometime, but we have to fight. We have to fight back. We have to get out there in nature. So this is one of the big things, electronics, that sucks us all in. But another thing that keeps us from getting out and exploring nature, busy. How many times have you actually made time to get outdoors and go hiking? I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you probably are one of the people who does make time to get out and go hiking. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't. You've got the kids. You've got to make dinner. You have to go do something with your friends. You have to go work. You have to go. I mean, there's so many things to do, so many places to go. Our lives have become busy, and we don't have time to enjoy and relax in nature. So that's another biggie. And then one of my big ones that really bothers me, some people actually have a fear of nature. It's hard to believe, but it is an actual fear of being out in nature. It's called biophobia. Biophobia is a fear of nature, and unfortunately, the adults pass it on to the kids. But there are kids who are afraid to be outdoors too. They're afraid of all the little bugs and all the insects. Oh no, there's a bird out there. So these are things that keep people from nature. A story, if you don't believe me about this fear of nature, I'd like to tell a story about many years ago. I worked for the Buffalo Audubon Society. We used to do nature programming at the parks in Buffalo. We would kind of alter from one park to another. I was in a section of Delaware Park the one day, and I was leading a children's program. So I had all these preschoolers show up. I believe there were about 10, 15 of them, and they had at least one parent with them. So you're talking a group of maybe 30 of them. We met at a library. I discussed what we were going to do, what we were looking at, and we just went on a general nature hike through the park. Now, this is a very groomed park, the section we were in, so there aren't a lot of places with tall grass, places with bushes. You know, it was very groomed. There were trees, and we're walking along, and I'm talking about some of the trees, and I had the kids touch the bark, and I was amazed how several of the kids wouldn't even touch them. And then we went a little bit further, and I discovered a rock on the ground. And with my curiosity, of course, I flipped the rock over. And I explained how sometimes nature hides. Sometimes the animals hide. They're in their home. They're trying to protect themselves. They're trying to basically have their own little niche under that rock. And so if you really want to discover nature, sometimes you have to look a little harder. So I flipped that rock over, and underneath were some really cool bugs. And I picked one up, and I'm holding it in my hand. I'm showing the kids, and I asked the kids, do you want to hold it? Now, I had this one little kid who was coming over, and he was ready to grab it. And his mother's like, oh, no, don't touch it. Yeah, she actually screamed out. She was so afraid of that little boy touching that insect. I just flipped out. It's like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. Now, because I was in a professional position, I had to say, oh, it's all right. You know, I had to take care of the situation in a very diplomatic way. And I told her, I realized this fear is out there. And I explained to them, okay, this insect, if it was going to be harmful, I wouldn't be holding it myself. I don't want some bug biting me. I've had it happen. It does happen. But I didn't want it biting me, so why would I pick it up if I knew it was going to? And I tried explaining this to the parents, and they just looked at me, and the one lady is just like, yeah, but it's dirty. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, I didn't say that, but this is what I'm thinking. It's dirty. It's like, so what about the grass? Now I understand why none of them were touching the plants, why a lot of the kids didn't want to touch the tree. Here we are in the middle of a city, and their mentality is nature is dirty. You're going to get sick if you touch it. You're going to get germs. You're going to get... Oh, my Lord. This just blew my mind. At that point, I just wanted to come out with all the statistics, all the research about kids with really good immune systems were the ones who ate dirt as kids. Yeah, believe it or not, there are substances in dirt that help build your immune system. So the kids like me who, when they were young, they're outdoors playing all the time. They'd come in and just be filthy because we were digging in the dirt. We were exploring nature. We were having fun in nature. We're the ones who are building our immune system. Nowadays, how many kids have asthma, have, different ailments that are due to a lowered immune system? A lot of them, because they don't get out in nature. They're so sheltered. Oh, you don't want to do this. Oh, no, you don't want to do that. No, don't do this. Don't do that. Yeah, the parents are scaring the living daylights out of these kids. So, once again, diplomatic. I went through the whole spiel about how it's actually healthy to get your hands dirty once in a while. We'll be going back to the library. They have a restroom in there. The kids can wash their hands before lunch. And I made sure I touched as much as I could. And I encouraged these kids to do the same. By the end of our 1 hour walk, I think I had maybe 3 or 4 of these kids and their parents convinced that it's okay. It's okay to experience nature with more than just your eyes. You can experience it better by touching, by feeling, by smelling, using all your senses. It's not going to hurt you. I remember climbing trees when I was a kid. I had a park behind my backyard. It was awesome. I don't know how many times I fell out of a tree. I got hurt. I stubbed my toes, walking barefoot through the grass. I mean, I was experiencing nature as a kid all the time. Nowadays, how many kids do you see climbing trees? The parents don't let them. They don't want to get hurt. It's part of childhood, in my opinion. Okay, just my opinion. But to me, it's the experience. Explore nature. So those are the big things that are preventing people from getting out of nature. Electronics, being too busy, and of course, that fear of nature. I mean, why should we get out of nature? Why should we experience nature? What's wrong with sitting in front of the TV? What's wrong with being inside? Well, there's a lot wrong. I mean, there's been so many studies. This is not just my opinion. This is not just my word. There's been numerous studies that show spending time outdoor is healthier. It actually reduces obesity. I mean, you're getting exercise. It reduces stress. And it increases learning abilities. There's been, for instance, American Psychological Association. They have found through studies, through research, that benefits include cognitive benefits as well as emotional and existential benefits. Overall happiness increased, positive effect, positive social interactions, and a sense of meaning and purpose in life, as well as decreases in mental distress. This is the American Psychological Association that did studies about people, not just kids, adults too, being out in nature. So all of these great benefits. According to WebMD, vitamin D is being absorbed from the sun, which is essential to our bodies. It helps our blood cells, our immune system, and bones. You stay inside, you're not getting that vitamin D. Yeah, sure, you can take supplements. It's not the same. Get out and experience that sunshine. Doesn't have to be a lot. I mean, you don't want too much sunshine because that's not good for you. You don't want to get skin cancer, but get out there for like 15 minutes a day and absorb that sunshine. And why not do other things while you're out there? They also found that people who are outdoors, they get better sleep. Yeah, it actually improves your sleep. I know I was outside for quite a while. We went for a hike at Knox Farm State Park in East Aurora. And when I got home, all I wanted to do was take a nap. And I was only outside for 2 hours. But it helps you sleep. I know I slept real well that night. So get outdoors and improve your sleep. It lessens anxiety. It boosts creativity and focus. All of this is according to studies by WebMD. They did a study at Yale. They found in the study that it only took about 2 hours of immersion in nature for people to feel a sense of well-being and to feel healthier. Only 2 hours. I mean, I suggest more than 2 hours outdoors. In the summer, it's hard to get meat indoors, but if you spend 2 hours out in nature, and they're talking immersion in nature, okay, not just standing out there on your porch, staring at your cell phone. No, getting outside, walking through the woods, hiking down a trail, doing all these nature immersion activities. 2 hours, that's all it takes. And the people in the study, after 2 hours, they had a better sense of well-being and they felt healthier. So if you decide this is what you want to do, make it your goal to spend more time in nature. Start out easy. Do a weekly goal. And then maybe bump it up to a monthly goal. I want to spend more time out in nature every month. And don't just say, I want to spend more time. Set it as, I want to spend X number of hours in nature each week this month. I want to go outdoors every Tuesday for 6 hours. I want to go hiking every Thursday for 4 hours. So set definite, distinctive goals for yourself. And that makes it so much easier to stick to those goals. If you just say, I want to spend more time, hey, I used to only spend, maybe half an hour a month outdoors in nature. You could spend 45 minutes and you just increased it. Big deal. Okay, so make definite goals. So how do we do this? Well, put it on your calendar. Make the goals, put it on your calendar, write a list. Okay, I use an online calendar and I write down, I'm going to go out and go hiking this day. Yeah, or I set a day where I'm going to go hiking at a different park every Thursday during the month of January. Okay, so these are ways you can do it, but get it on the calendar so that you don't use that busy thing as an excuse. Okay, it's on the calendar. You got to do it. How about making an adult play date? Yeah, the kids have play dates. Why can't you? Get some friends together. Hey guys, let's go out to the park and let's go hiking. Hey, I heard about this great place to go hiking. Let's check it out. So make yourself a play date. Have everyone bring a little snack. You can stop somewhere, talk about nature, enjoy each other's company. They actually have found being out in nature with friends helps to build social relationships. So get out there, build social skills, and it gets you out in nature. How about finding outdoor groups or programs? Naturalist-led hikes. If you have a favorite state or county or local park, maybe they have programs. I know we do at a lot of our state parks. Join them. You'll get to meet more people. You also learn about nature, and it forces you to get out in nature. There's a lot of different hiking groups. Kids, make it fun. Have the kids do fun activities outdoor. Show them how much fun it is out in nature. So give them outdoor fun activities in the woods or in the field. Have them do scavenger hunts. So there's so many activities that kids can do to get them excited about nature. Make it so that it's more fun than being on an iPad and staring at a screen. Create an outdoor space is a great one. I know I have a lot of outdoor spaces. Of course, I've got 12 acres out here. So I actually built a half-mile trail through my woods and my field. So I can just get home from work, hop on the trail, walk along. Sometimes I do it twice. Gets me out in nature. Gets my head clear after a long day of work. So create an outdoor space, and it can just be your patio. My patio is beautiful. It's a great place to just hang out. I've got a fire pit on it. I've got some comfortable chairs. I've got a table there. I've got a pergola. It's a nice place to just sit, relax, and stare at nature all day. It's close to my bird feeders because I put the bird feeders near there so you can watch the birds and get an eBird. You can tally up the birds. That's a fun activity to do while you're outdoors in nature. So create those outdoor spaces. Maybe you like gardening. Create a place in your garden where you can just sit and relax and enjoy nature. Set a goal. Write it down. Maybe make yourself a little sign to hang in your office or hang in your front door. Maybe hang it by your mirror. Make it say something simple like, "Did you get outdoors today?" So hopefully I've encouraged you to make it a New Year's, not resolution, but a New Year's goal to get outdoors more. Write it down, put it on your calendar, make a point of getting outdoors so that you'll be healthier. And then while you're out there, hey, you might realize that you're relaxed more, you're enjoying it more, and bring some friends along. Encourage them too. Well, it looks like we're pretty much out of time for today. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please make sure that you subscribe to the podcast, write a review, download the episodes, invite friends to listen to it as well. I always encourage people, if you enjoyed it, tell your friends about it. That way, they too can wander through nature with us. If you ever have any nature questions or ideas for episodes, feel free to drop me a message. You can get to my Instagram page at _nature_wanderer or my website at naturewanderer, all one word, naturewanderer.org. You can also support the podcast by joining my Patreon, which also gives you extras, including videos. I'm working on a bonus podcast for the Patreon patrons. There's pictures and so much more that you can get on the Patreon. Putting together a lot of different interactive programs on there. They are slideshows that I put into videos, so those are on there as well. All of this can be accessed just by becoming a patron. Have a great week and keep exploring the nature around you.